Losing a spouse is a wound that cuts deeper than words can express. It's not just the absence of a partner, it's the unraveling of a shared life, the quiet of a home once filled with laughter, and the weight of a future you never imagined facing alone. For those in their later years, this loss can feel like losing a part of your very soul, especially after decades of building a life together. The grief is raw, all-consuming, and often accompanied by a flood of decisions that demand attention at a time when you feel least equipped to make them. In the haze of sorrow, it's easy to act out of pain, loneliness, or pressure, but some choices can lead to regrets that linger long after the tears have dried. Financial missteps, emotional isolation, or decisions that stall your healing. This guide is for those navigating this unimaginable loss, particularly older adults who may feel the weight of grief compounded by the challenges of aging. We'll explore 5 critical things to say no to after losing a spouse, mistakes that many make in the throes of grief, only to realize later they weren't ready. These aren't just warnings, they're a roadmap to protect your heart, your future, and your well-being. With deeper insights, real-life stories, and scientific backing, this journey will resonate with your pain and offer hope for healing. Stay with me, because these lessons could be the lifeline you need to move forward with dignity, clarity, and love. Mistake 1: rushing into major financial decisions. The death of a spouse often thrusts you into a world of financial responsibilities you may not have handled alone before. Bank accounts need managing, insurance policies demand attention, and questions about whether to keep or sell the family home loom large. In your 70s or 80s, these decisions can feel even more daunting, especially if your spouse handled the finances or if you're navigating retirement savings. The urge to act quickly is natural. Perhaps you think selling the house will ease the pain of memories, or investing a lump sum will secure your future. But grief is a fog that clouds judgment, and rushing into major financial decisions can lead to regrets that haunt you for years. A 2018 study in psychological science revealed that grief impairs cognitive function, particularly decision-making, for up to a year after a significant loss. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking, is hijacked by emotional stress, making it harder to weigh long-term consequences. For older adults, this is compounded by age-related changes in cognitive processing, as noted in a 2020 Journal of Gerontology study, which found that stress can exacerbate decision-making challenges in those over 65. This is why the months after a loss are a dangerous time to make irreversible choices like selling a home, relocating, or making large investments. Take Margaret, a 74-year-old widow from Ohio. After her husband of 45 years passed, she was overwhelmed by the upkeep of their sprawling home. Friends and family urged her to downsize, saying a smaller apartment would be easier to manage. Desperate for a sense of control, she sold the house within 4 months and moved to a new town. But as the shock of grief faded, Margaret realized she'd acted too soon. She missed her garden, where she and her husband had spent countless evenings, and the neighbors who knew their story. The move left her feeling unmoored, and the financial hit from selling at a loss only added to her stress. "I wish I'd waited," she said later. "That house was my anchor, and I let it go before I was ready." Another peril is the vulnerability to financial predators. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau reports that older adults, especially those grieving, are prime targets for scams. Unscrupulous advisors may push high-risk investments, while others offer too-good-to-be-true opportunities that drain savings. Even well-meaning loved ones can steer you wrong, suggesting quick fixes that don't align with your needs. For example, a 2023 AARP study found that 60% of widows over 70 felt pressured to make financial decisions they later regretted, often due to external advice. Then there's the emotional impulse to give away money. Grief can spark a desire to honor your spouse by helping others, children, grandchildren, or charities. While generosity is noble, large gifts or premature asset division can leave you vulnerable. A 2021 Journal of Financial Planning study noted that many widows deplete their savings within 5 years of a spouse's death due to impulsive giving, especially when grieving. This can jeopardize your security, particularly if you face unexpected medical costs or need long-term care. So, what should you do? Embrace the one-year rule, a strategy endorsed by financial advisors. Wait at least 12 months before making major decisions. This gives your heart and mind time to settle, allowing clearer thinking. Consult a certified financial planner who specializes in working with seniors, ideally one with no conflicts of interest. Create a temporary budget to stabilize your finances, focusing on essentials like bills and healthcare. If you're considering selling a home or making investments, seek a second opinion from someone you trust. Your future self will thank you for this pause, ensuring your financial security reflects the life you and your spouse built together. Mistake 2, shutting out friends and family. Grief can feel like a solitary road, especially for older adults who may already face shrinking social circles. After losing a spouse, the instinct to withdraw is powerful. You might crave silence to process your pain or feel that no one could possibly understand the depth of your loss. But while solitude has its place, isolating yourself completely can deepen the ache of loneliness, turning a temporary retreat into a cycle that's hard to break. A 2020 study in The Lancet found that prolonged social isolation increases the risk of depression by 50% and raises mortality rates in older adults. Loneliness weakens the immune system, elevates blood pressure, and even accelerates cognitive decline, according to a 2019 National Institute on Aging report. For those in their 70s or 80s, these risks are amplified, as social connections are critical for emotional and physical resilience. Yet, in grief, it's easy to push away the very people who could help you heal. Consider Walter, a 78-year-old widower from Virginia. After his wife of 52 years passed, he stopped answering calls, declined invitations, and rarely left his house. "I didn't want to burden anyone," he said, "and I thought no one could understand." Months passed and Walter's world grew smaller. His energy waned, his appetite faded, and the silence of his home became suffocating. One day, a neighbor, Mary, knocked on his door with a simple offer: coffee and conversation. Reluctantly, he agreed. That small act sparked a weekly ritual, then lunches with old friends. Slowly, Walter felt the fog lift, not because his grief vanished, but because he realized he wasn't alone. Isolation often stems from a mix of exhaustion and pride. You might feel too tired to socialize or worry about being a downer. For older adults, there's also the fear of being pitted or feeling like a burden, especially if children or friends are busy with their own lives. But shutting out loved ones can create distance that's hard to repair. A 2022 Journal of Social Issues study found that bereaved seniors who maintained even minimal social contact reported lower levels of anxiety and better coping skills. You don't need to leap into crowded gatherings. Start small. Answer a text, have a short phone call, or invite a friend for tea. If talking feels too hard, simply sit together. Sometimes presence is enough. Grief support groups, often available through community centers or churches, can connect you with others who truly get it. For Walter, a local widows group became a lifeline, offering shared stories and quiet understanding. Online forums can also help if mobility is an issue, providing connection from the comfort of home. Letting people in doesn't mean hiding your pain. Your loved ones may not have perfect words, but their willingness to listen or just sit with you can ease the burden. By saying no to isolation, you open the door to moments of warmth and support, reminding you that even in loss, you are not alone. Mistake 3, neglecting your health. Grief doesn't just break your heart, it wears down your body. For older adults, this is especially true, as aging already brings health challenges. After losing a spouse, it's common to let self-care slip. You might skip meals, forget medications, or cancel doctor's appointments, consumed by sorrow or feeling that your health no longer matters. But neglecting your well-being doesn't honor your spouse. It only makes your journey harder. A 2019 study in JAMA Internal Medicine found that spousal loss increases the risk of heart disease by 20% in the first year, driven by stress-induced inflammation. Grief also disrupts sleep, weakens immunity, and can trigger cognitive decline, according to a 2021 American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry study. For those over 70, these effects can compound existing conditions like arthritis or diabetes, making self-care non-negotiable. James, an 81-year-old widower from Texas, stopped cooking after his wife's death. She was the one who made our meals, he said. Without her, I didn't see the point. He turned to microwave dinners, lost weight, and felt constantly drained. His daughter, noticing his decline, started bringing him simple, nutritious meals. Reluctantly, James began eating better, and within weeks, his energy returned. I didn't realize how much it mattered, he admitted. Eating well is just one piece. The American Heart Association emphasizes that even light exercise, like a 15-minute walk, reduces stress and boosts mood. For older adults, this can be as simple as strolling through a park or joining a senior yoga class, which also offers social connection. Yet, many stop moving after a loss, especially if activities were shared with a spouse. If you walk together, try inviting a friend or listening to music to make it feel less lonely. Medical checkups are equally critical. A 2023 Journal of Aging and Health study found that 40% of bereaved seniors delayed routine care, increasing risks of untreated conditions. Schedule your appointments, even if it feels overwhelming. Mental health matters too. Grief can spiral into depression or anxiety, particularly for older adults. A counselor or support group can provide a safe space to process your feelings. If faith is part of your life, spiritual guidance can also offer solace. Caring for yourself isn't a betrayal, it's a way to carry forward the love you shared. Your spouse would want you to live fully, even in their absence. Small acts of self-care, eating a healthy meal, taking a walk, or seeing a doctor are steps toward healing, ensuring you have the strength to face each day. Mistake 4. Jumping into a new relationship too soon. The loneliness after losing a spouse can feel like a void that nothing can fill. For older adults who may have spent decades with their partner, this emptiness is profound. The idea of new companionship might seem like a way to ease the pain, a warm voice to share meals with, a hand to hold. But rushing into a relationship before you've processed your grief can lead to more heartache than healing. A 2021 study in Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that relationships started within a year of a spouse's death often falter due to unresolved grief. You might seek a partner to fill the void, only to find yourself comparing them to your spouse or feeling guilty for moving on. For older adults, this is complicated by the weight of shared history, decades of routines, inside jokes, and unspoken bonds that a new relationship can't replicate. Barbara, 72, from Florida, met a kind man at a community event 6 months after her husband's death. He made me laugh again, she said. They started dating, and at first, it felt like a lifeline. But as the relationship deepened, Barbara felt overwhelmed. She wasn't ready for commitment, and memories of her husband surfaced unexpectedly. Ending a relationship was painful, but it taught her she needed time to heal. I was running from loneliness, she reflected. I needed to find myself first. There's also the risk of exploitation. The Federal Trade Commission reported in 2024 that romance scams targeting older widows and widowers cost victims millions annually. Grieving seniors are vulnerable to manipulators who offer affection to gain trust, only to ask for money or access to assets. Red flags include pressure to commit quickly, financial requests, or attempts to isolate you from loved ones. This doesn't mean closing the door on love forever. Many older adults find meaningful relationships later in life, but the healthiest ones start from a place of healing. A 2022 Journal of Marriage and Family study found that widows and widowers who waited at least 2 years before dating reported higher relationship satisfaction. Take time to rediscover yourself, your passions, your values, your dreams. Join clubs or classes to build friendships first, which can ease loneliness without the pressure of romance. If you do date, go slowly, share your journey with trusted friends, and listen to your heart. Love can bloom again, but only when you're ready to let it grow naturally. Mistake 5, clinging to every possession. Deciding what to do with your spouse's belongings is one of the hardest parts of grief. Every item, a worn sweater, a favorite book, a pair of glasses holds a piece of them. For older adults who may have shared a home for decades, these possessions are a tapestry of a life built together. Letting go can feel like erasing their presence, but holding on to everything can anchor you in pain, preventing you from moving forward. A 2022 study in death studies found that gradual decluttering helps mourners process loss while preserving meaningful memories. Keeping a home untouched, like a museum of grief, can make it harder to adjust to a new reality. Harold, 76, from Michigan, left his wife's belongings exactly as they were after her death. Her shoes stayed by the door, her dresses hung in the closet, and her chair remained empty. It felt like she was still here, he said. But over time, the untouched items became a daily reminder of his loss, weighing him down. When he finally donated some clothes, keeping her favorite scarf and a photo album, he felt a surprising relief. It wasn't about forgetting her, he said. It was about making room to breathe. Start small. Choose a few cherished items, a piece of jewelry, a letter, a memento, and create a special space for them, like a memory box or a display. Repurposing can also help. Turn a shirt into a pillow or share heirlooms with family. A 2023 Journal of Gerontological Nursing study noted that such acts provide comfort while easing the emotional burden of clutter. Don't let others rush you. Grief has no timeline, but be mindful that holding onto everything might keep you stuck. Letting go is not betrayal. Your spouse's love lives in your heart, not their possessions. By releasing some items thoughtfully, you honor their memory while creating space for healing, allowing you to carry their legacy forward in a way that brings peace. Final thoughts. Losing a spouse is a journey through uncharted territory, especially in your later years. The pain is profound, the decisions overwhelming, and the future uncertain. But by saying no to these 5 pitfalls, rushing financial decisions, isolating yourself, neglecting your health, jumping into relationships too soon, and clinging to every possession, you protect the life you and your spouse built together. Grief is not a race. There's no timeline for healing, no rulebook for moving forward. But every small choice you make now can pave the way for moments of peace, strength, and even joy. Your spouse's love is a part of you, a light that never fades. Honor it by living fully, even in their absence. Which of these lessons touched you most? Share your story below. I'd love to hear how you're navigating this path. If this guide spoke to you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Your support helps us create content that lifts and inspires. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.